Welcome back to our journey into the secrets of ancient Egypt. In our last episode, we started to unravel the mysteries of mummification. But what really set the ancient Egyptians apart wasn't just the what, but the how. Today, in part 2, we're going deep into the embalmer's toolkit, the surprising chemistry they used, and the sacred techniques that turned a mortal body into an eternal vessel. If you're as fascinated by this blend of science and faith as I am, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more content like this. So, let's talk tools. The embalmers were more than just priests. They were highly skilled surgeons. Imagine operating with tools made not of stainless steel, but of obsidian, bronze, and even sharpened bone. These weren't crude instruments. They were precise, designed for delicate tasks that would challenge a modern doctor. Think about the brain removal. The most famous tool for this was a long, hooked rod. This wasn't just blindly pushed up the nose. The embalmers had a detailed mental map of the skull's interior. They would carefully insert the rod through the nostril, break through the fragile ethmoid bone at the base of the skull, and then, with incredible dexterity, they would liquefy and extract the brain piece by piece. It's a feat of anatomical knowledge that's simply mind-blowing, especially considering they had no X-rays or modern imaging to guide them. Beyond the hook, they had a whole arsenal. Sharp knives, some made from razor-sharp volcanic glass, were used to make a small, precise incision on the left side of the abdomen. This cut had to be just big enough to remove the internal organs, but small enough to be easily sealed and hidden later. They also used forceps and spoons to carefully scoop out organs without causing unnecessary damage to the body cavity. Each tool had a specific purpose, and the embalmers who wielded them were masters of their craft, passing down their knowledge through generations. Their workshop, or wabbit, was a place of both science and sacred ritual, where the lines between surgeon and priest completely blurred. But the tools were only half the story. The real secret to eternal preservation lay in the chemistry. We mentioned natron in part 1, that natural salt mix found in the desert wadis. But let's get a little more specific. Natron is a mixture of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate, essentially baking soda and washing soda. When packed around and inside the body, it did two crucial things. First, it was a powerful desiccant, meaning it drew out all the water from the tissues, stopping decomposition in its tracks. Bacteria and fungi need moisture to survive, and natron took it all away. Second, its high pH created an alkaline environment that was hostile to any remaining microbes. It wasn't just drying the body, it was sterilizing it on a chemical level. On top of the natron, the embalmers used a cocktail of other powerful substances. They would anoint the body with fragrant and antiseptic oils like cedar oil and cumin oil. These oils not only helped to perfume the body, masking any odors of decay, but they also had natural antibacterial and antifungal properties, adding another layer of protection. Then came the resins. Coniferous tree resins, like pine resin, were heated and poured over the body and into the body cavities. As this resin cooled, it hardened into a waterproof, airtight seal, creating a perfect barrier against moisture, insects, and the elements. It was like varnishing a masterpiece to protect it for eternity. Sometimes, they even used bitumen, a black, tar-like substance, which further sealed the body and gave some mummies their characteristic dark appearance. Now, what about the organs they so carefully removed? They weren't just thrown away. To the Egyptians, these organs were essential for the afterlife and needed to be preserved with the same care as the body itself. The stomach, intestines, lungs, and liver were individually embalmed, often using the same natron and resin treatment. Once preserved, they were placed into special containers called canopic jars. There were always 4 jars, each one protected by one of the 4 sons of the god Horus. Imsidi, the human-headed god, guarded the liver. Hapi, the baboon-headed god, protected the lungs. Duamutef, with the head of a jackal, watched over the stomach. And finally, Kebesanuth, the falcon-headed god, was the guardian of the intestines. These jars were then placed in the tomb alongside the mummy, ensuring the deceased had everything they needed for their journey. But what about the heart? In a process full of removals, the heart was the one organ the Egyptians always, deliberately, left inside the body. Why? Because they believed the heart was the seat of intelligence, emotion, and memory, the very essence of a person. More importantly, it was the key to the final judgment. In the afterlife, the deceased would face the weighing of the heart ceremony. Their heart would be placed on a scale, balanced against the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was lighter than the feather, it meant the person had lived a righteous life, and they were granted passage to the eternal paradise. If it was heavier, weighed down by sins, it would be devoured by the monster Ammit, and the soul would be destroyed forever. Removing the heart would be like going to your final exam without your brain. It was unthinkable. The entire process, from the initial purification to the final wrapping, was a painstaking affair that typically lasted for 70 days. This wasn't an arbitrary number. It was deeply symbolic, corresponding to the period when the star Sirius disappeared from the sky, a time linked to death and rebirth in Egyptian cosmology. The first 40 days were primarily for the dehydration and preservation with natron. The remaining 30 days were dedicated to the wrapping, anointing, and ritualistic stages. This long timeline ensured that every step was done perfectly, giving the body the best possible chance at immortality and allowing for all the necessary religious rites to be performed. Modern science has only deepened our appreciation for their methods. Chemical analysis of mummy wrappings and tissues has confirmed the use of complex organic compounds. We've found traces of antibacterial agents and natural preservatives that show a sophisticated understanding of how to combat decay. It wasn't just superstition, it was applied science developed through centuries of trial and error. The Egyptians were the original masters of biochemistry, using nature's pharmacy to define nature's course. This fusion of meticulous science and profound spirituality is what makes mummification so uniquely captivating. It was a promise, written in linen and resin, that death was not the end, but merely a doorway. And that's where we'll pause for today. We've seen the tools, the chemicals, and the sacred treatment of the organs. But what did all of this mean to the average Egyptian? How did these practices evolve over 3,000 years, and what is their lasting legacy? In our final episode, we will explore the cultural impact of mummification, from the grandest pharaohs to the common people, and how these ancient practices continue to influence and fascinate us today. You absolutely don't want to miss the conclusion to this incredible story. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If you learned something new, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you won't miss part 3. What part of the embalming process surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading your thoughts. See you in the next video.